year. Now we're on the 13th of Nisan. Yud Gimel Nisan marks the Hilula of a really great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Chaim Shabtai. Zeche Tzadik Libracha. He was born in English year 1557 and reported he passed away in 1647. He would have been at time passing about 90 years of age. He was, let's say, one of the great rabbis, Salonika of Greece, of his time. The author of the Torah colossal work called the Taurat, Chaim, very, very great rabbi. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born naturally in Saloniki, a place we've spoken about on various occasions before, in the year 1557, in the mid-16th century, and to Rav Shabtai, and I think that was it. I don't know about the family name. I'm not too sure, but that was his name. He was a Talmid of a great rabbi who I believe we've mentioned about before, Rab Aaron Sasson, who at that point in time was one of the great rabbis of Saloniki, and also in, I think, Kushta in Istanbul, and the author of the Shut Taurat Emet. He was a great rabbi of his generation, Rabbi Aaron Sasson was, who we learned together, and he was learning also, I think, with the Chavruta of Rabbi Yosef ben Shaul Isbaka, a very, very great rabbi, happened to be a Rosh Yeshiva in Izmir. Remember, Izmir in the 1600s especially was a golden age of Torah learning over there, and he happened to be the author of the Torah colossal work called the Rosh Yosef, respectively. They would learn also with Rabbi Shmuel di Medina, another great rabbi, one of the great rabbis of Salonika of Greece, respectively. Also another author of a Shelot Shuvot book, Rabbi Shlomo HaKohen, another great rabbi, or Rabbi Shlomo ben Abraham HaKohen, who was a great posek halacha in his time in Greece. And let's just say he was the generation after Rav Yosef Karo, a very, very great rabbi. So he was learning under probably at that point in time the most famous auspices that you could have a combination of. And I think he would be appointed part of the Bet Din of Rabbi Aaron Sasson, a very prominent position over there. And I think Rabbi Shmuel Florentin, I think, passed away. He happened to be a Rosh Yeshiva, and one of the great rabbis also in Saloniki. He passed away during the 17th century. He would, I think, take a position at that point in time that was, let's just say, the Kihilat Shalom, if I'm not mistaken, in Saloniki, respectively, in that specific area. So Rav Chaim, I think, would actually take that premiership place in of itself and fill very much that role. He would promote huge amounts of Torah for many, many years, was reported over, and have 40 years, as many as that, and will have many, many hundreds of Talmidim over there, will get really, really, let's say, inspired at a huge event. He was a huge rate, let's just say, in of itself, and really, really were let's just say, inspired from him. And later, many of these Talmidim would serve as rabbis in important communities throughout the various different Balkan areas in himself, and write various different Torah halachic works. And he would teach Torah. His role included establishing, let's just say, shalom between members of the community. It was a very wide range of jobs over there. Mainton did a lot of shalom bayit work also. He was a hands-on rabbi. He was, I think, also, let's say, giving over huge grandiose Torah sermons to mitzchazek the kehillah, the congregation, especially on Shabbat and on the Chagim. I think later on he would be appointed a chief rabbi of the communities of Saloniki, which was, I think, not all the communities were officially, I think they weren't all necessarily united at that specific point in time, but he would very much have steer many of the communities together and unite them with regards to questions, answers, and various other important Jewish and Torah, let's just say, works in of itself. He was arguably one of the greatest rabbis of the generation, and gave many hundreds of halachic responsa, especially many of the rabbis in the diaspora countries would actually approach him, especially even from Turkey and from other areas, including the Tzfat, that was, let's say, epicenter of Kabbalah at that point in time, Venice in Italy, Sofia in Bulgaria, that had a great community, and Rhodes, and many other places that would come to him, asking him Shailot. One of the sages of his generation actually really, really complimented him about the great, let's just say, fortress of Torah he spread all over the people of the Saloniki regions. That's how great he was. It's interesting. I think he had the correspondence with the famous Rabbi Moshe Gelante, the elder, who was another great rabbi we've actually mentioned about before. He happened to be one of the prominent Kabbalists of Sfat in his generation. And I think this was a time period of the Ariya Kadosh, if not just shortly later. So there was a response within regards to many of the great rabbis over there. I think also Rabbi Yaakov Abulafia was closest to, who was also nicknamed the Egyptian, let's just say over there. He was part of the rabbinic dynasty of the Abulafia family we've spoken about before. And one of the most prominent figures of the time period of the Ari HaKadosh respectively. He was a rabbi in Damascus, Rabbi Abulafia. He had correspondence. Also another great rabbi was Rav Avram de Boton. Another great rabbi, I think he was the author of the Torah great work called the Lechem Mishnah. I think we actually mentioned about him in a video respectively at a previous stage. Another great rabbi in Salonika. He would live a long life till the age of 90. And then later on his son, Rav Moshe, would actually take his place. Let's explore some of the Talmidim he had, as well as having a lot of great rabbis. He would garner up, as we said before, many, many great Talmidim. Included was Rav Shlomo Halevi, one of the great rabbis of Saloniki. Also Rabbi Yeshua Tandali, another great rabbi, author of the Shelot Shuvot book, the Panei Yeshua. Rabbi Eliyahu Al-Fandari. Remember, we've spoken about the Al-Fandari rabbinic dynasty on various occasions. Well, he was one of the great rabbis of Istanbul, Kushta in Turkey, and the author of Michtav Eliyahu Rabbah, Eliyahu Zuta, various different great books. Another one of his great Talmudim was Rav David Conforti, another great rabbi. He was a posek in his era in of itself, and the author and of various different great bibliographic works in of itself. So it really left great Talmudim, as we stated from the beginning. Among his descendants, now I think he got married at a young age. His wife's name was I'm not sure what his wife's name actually was. Then I think later on he would get married at a later stage. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I will have 4 sons, including, this was reported over here on Wikipedia, Rav Moshe, who would actually fill his place later on as a rabbi, will be the author of a Tshuva book, answers book of the Taurat, and Rav Eliyahu Kobo, I believe, was, I think, his son-in-law. Remember, Rav Eliyahu Kobo, if I'm not mistaken, later on this would be of Rav Moshe, if I'm not mistaken, and he would be from the Kobo, famous Kobo rabbinic dynasty. We've spoken about the Kobo family before, especially from Greece, one of the greatest rabbinic families of that era. Rav Yosef, another one of his sons. Rav David Chaim, another one who would actually learn, I think, under the auspices of his father, and also was close, I think, with Rav David Konfotori, respectively, also would become a great rabbi in Saloniki. Rav Shabtai, another one, I think, would actually print the book of his father, if I'm not mistaken. He passed away, I think, in Taf Mem Tet, respectively. And very, very interesting. I think great Torah books would actually be printed through his sons, Rav Chaim and Rav Moshe, if I'm not mistaken, which were in manuscript form originally. And I think there was yes, that's very interesting. Now, let's explore some of the great Torah colossal works he actually left us. So it was great Torah works, including Sefer Taurat Chayim, widely considered, let's say, the magnum opus, published in the years 1713, 1715, and 1722 in Salonika after he passed away. 3-volume sponsor, naturally, mostly on the code of Jewish law, Shulchan Aruch, Even Ezer, and Choshen Mishpat, which also, I think, deals and grapples with a serious issue of agunot and other various topics. Then the Taurat has a Hav, which is laws with regards to kosher ritual animal slaughter, shechita, and bedika, inspection. Then the Moda of Ones, I believe, published in 1628 around his era in Saloniki. Later on, it will be printed again in Lviv in the year 1798. This was in Ukraine, naturally, so it was very much a popular book in Ashkenazic countries. And I think there will be commentaries from other people, interesting enough. And he would also write several commentaries on the Talmud tractate, the Masechet Ta'anit, as well as other tractates also. They were printed, I think, in the Sefer Taurat Moshe, written by his son, Rav Moshe Shabtai, respectively. He was a great rabbi of his time, a chief rabbi of Saloniki of his era. He passed away, as before, in the year 1647. He was a Rosh Yeshiva, had great students of his time. And please, everyone, don't forget to light candles in memory. 13th of Nisan is Sisilula. Wishing you all well. Subscribe to the channel. We have got nearly 6,500 subscribers already onto the channel. And if you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these great videos, share these videos with other people. He passed away in Saloniki, just like he was born there. It was at that point in time, it was part of the Ottoman Empire. So please learn more about the great rabbi. We're a community over here. We enjoy learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you happen to be related to any of the great rabbis, please send me an email. Let me know more comments within regards to the great Chachamim and learn more about the great rabbis of yesteryear. We've related over probably around 25 rabbis at least that were from Greece, respectively. I think just to add to it, one of the other tractates he was concentrate on in manuscript form was a Seder Gittin also, which I didn't mention about just beforehand. So that is just another interesting tidbit. So wishing you well, take care. Here recording this from